Hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of Think Business Live. It's good to have Dr. Dorine Rivers. River, it's great to see you again. Always love connecting and talking with you. Founder and CEO of Savantz.ai. I just want to kind of chat a little bit about the program. You know, if somebody were to go to Savantz.ai, they would see your creative future awaits, explore the solutions for educators and businesses and entrepreneurs and authors and creators. And, you know, AI is such an interesting topic, and it will continue to be, I think, an interesting topic, River, for many, many years slash decades to come, right? And so, you know, as we kind of kick off on, you know, lessons, let's say, what would you say the biggest lessons people are learning from AI? I think there's different schools. There's those that are scared of it and those that embrace it. And once you embrace it, you really start to kind of learn a lot about business, and learn about you, a lot about yourself. It gets you thinking differently. What are some of the lessons people are extracting from the use of AI in their everyday worlds?
Great to see you, John. I love being on your show. It's you're a fabulous host. It was one of my favorite shows last year. So thanks for having me back.
Thanks for being here.
I would say the biggest lesson, especially for business people and entrepreneurs, is that you don't have to do all these things all the time yourself anymore. A lot of it can be automated. And what happens when you're able to automate some of the day to day grinding tasks is that you're left open with that time now to do the things that you do best.
Yeah.
That's visionary. That's working on the business and not in the business. It's all the things that we continue to hear that we're supposed to be doing, and yet we get caught up in these little things that can be automated and get off our plate immediately.
Yeah.
That time back is worth 10 times.
Yeah.
And so now what are you going to do with that time? Well, you get to be better at what you are already doing and put the time there. And I think that's the number one best thing about AI.
Yeah, you know, I'm a business coach. You know, we've talked, and I work with solopreneurs. I work with large corporations, all different people within them. And one of the things I teach that seems to be a crowd favorite when I do keynotes is time management. I talk a lot about time management and how to maximize time. And one of the things that I talk about is that for every 4 minutes you save, that's 24 hours a year. And so I just want to kind of quantify a little bit about, you know, automating something that can take 4 minutes off your plate is 24 hours a year. Do that 4 times, you get 100 hours back. And so just looking at it from, you know, from that standpoint, you know, I think the average person looks for their keys and wallet about 60 to 80 hours a year. So if you could just put it in the same place and automate that for yourself, that works. So thanks for that. I want to talk about mentorship. And a lot of times when we talk about mentorship, we actually talk about people, but AI can also be a mentor if communicating with AI the right way. And so can you talk a little bit about that?
That's a great hot button for me because I have never gone, I won't say never, I seldom have ever been hired to start a company and I've gone to the office. I've done the majority of it from a home office. And because of that, I've got my list of tasks and I'm just grinding and drilling through all these things. There are literally some days when the only people I talk to are Siri and Alexa. And and now that has exponentially increased because I'm able to use other AI assistants to do things for me. And so you find that you are delegating your Dan Sullivan who not how
Yeah.
has, who's have become AI instead of a person that you're texting or
Yeah.
calling or emailing to say do these things. It's now a thing. It's a AI
Yeah.
assistant. But the trick is number one, how to utilize them and maximize them. And then secondly, defining those things that you can give to them. And it all goes, you know, some of it goes back to Dan Martell's book, which is Buy Your Time Back, which is a phenomenal book about assigning things to who and not trying to figure out how to do it yourself. And now your who is AI, and you
Yeah.
have a plethora of assistants to talk to and to decide who's going to do it and who are the best tools. I think is the challenge, because AI is changing so rapidly. What new tool came up in the last hour or day or week that now is better than the one you're using that is currently AI? And I think that's going to be challenging. And whoever would think that we'd have that kind of a problem is, what tool can do this better than the one I just chose, instead of who can I call?
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of my favorite books, Who Not How, by Dan Sullivan and Ben something. I can't remember his last name off the top of my head. Ben Hardy, I want to say.
Dr. Ben Hardy and
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, it's such a great book. It's interesting because I love to write. I'm not a great writer, and so I had typically always depended on editors to help me edit my stuff. Now I depend on ChatGPT. At one point, I was using a little bit of Jasper too, but it's I can write something and then say this in 50% of the words with the same impact as if you were my chief marketing officer or if you were Dan Sullivan. I can say things in different ways that that are great and make a big impact. And so I think that's new for people to think about, right? Like that AI can save you time. You can delegate things, and I want to dive a little bit deeper into that in kind of a mini business course, right? So if someone were to go to Savantz, SAVANTZ.ai, I want to do a 3-part mini business course right now where what are three ways that they can utilize AI to grow, themselves, their business, and begin to, as you said earlier, kind of automate and delegate to AI.
Well, for those who have already created content, and let's say that's a blog or an article, or it's training material, or it's a pitch deck, or any of the things that you've already used, and they've gone so far, and you spend a lot of time creating those. What if you could repurpose existing content already,
Yeah.
and you can turn it into a video that people would not only watch but be engaged with? Now, if they're engaged, they're going to remember what you're teaching them. If they remember it, they'll actually use it. And video provides that. And then when you take education and entertainment and you put those together and you have what we call EduTainment, now you've got something going. And then in addition to that, it's a micro module. Most people these days, and especially the younger crew, they have a phone in front of their face all day long. So let's meet them there. Let's put a video on their phone. Let them watch it in 3 minutes. They've got the key points. They actually watched it from beginning to end, and now they're going to remember it, and they're going to be able to use it. Mission accomplished. So let's meet them there. So anything you really want your employees to learn, or you want your investors to know, or you are doing product education, all of those things are a small amount of use cases for Savantz.
Yeah.
Now you're able to have people watch a small video and get all the key points and learn what it is you wanted them to know about.
Yeah.
And those are so that's repurposing things you already have. And obviously you can create new content. You can create your content on ChatGPT or on Claude or on a number of other AI writing tools. And then you can just cut that and paste that, or import a file. Now you've got your narration. And what we do is we take that narration and pull out those key points, create your storyboard of what it's going to look like, and you can change any of those images you want. You can choose what the narration is going to be. There are dozens of male and female voices to choose from. They're going to say what it is that you put in your narration, and the image is going to illustrate what you're talking about. And then you're going to generate the video, and you're going to put it wherever you want, because you downloaded it. It's yours.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. You can think of a dozen ways to use that in your business and in pitching whatever it is you're trying to sell, or your service. All of those things work great.
Yeah. Repurpose, new content, being creative, right? I mean, those are, but I do think an area where people get stuck is actually, they can come up with it in concept, in theory, write it on an editorial calendar, but then it's creating the content. And so, how do you recommend people actually commit to sit down and create, and at what cadence?
You know, it's really so simple now with AI. Let's say that you have a new product, and that product is to it's a service, and you're
Yeah.
going to write down. You're going to go into ChatGPT and say, my product is this. Create me a script that will last 2 minutes that talks about my product and convince people that they need to buy it. Well, it's going to give you that. And then you can tweak it however you want. Then you cut and paste that over. Once you do that, the decisions are easy. You want a male or female voice? What do you want the music to sound like? Do you want it to be realistic? Do you want it fantasy? Do you want it 3D? What do you want it to look like? Push this button now, and you've got it. All you have to do is have a concept, and you're going to go over to ChatGPT or to Claude. I like Claude for the writing. I like ChatGPT for analysis, but I'll go into Claude and I'll say, I need this. Here's the voice. Here's the audience. Create this narration for me. That's all you need.
Yeah.
That's for a new concept. It's much easier to repurpose existing content. But for new content, you just need an idea, and you need to know who you're going to want to sell that to. Who's your target audience?
Yeah.
And it's a cut and paste deal. It cannot be easier.
So talk about a little bit how Savantz.ai kind of helps the AI platform, and how it helps you create videos.
Okay, let's go back to the original concept. So you've got your narration now, but you kind of want to create a story, and you want people to remember, because when people watch videos, they don't remember what you say. They don't remember statistics that you throw out. They remember the stories that you tell. That's what people remember. You'll be able to click a box that says create a story that goes with what I'm talking about. Now you've got a reason for them to remember what you're talking about, because you've got a story, you've got some metaphors in there, and that becomes part of your video. So you've got your cut and paste from Claude or ChatGPT. You're going to add a story to illustrate it. Then you say, I want it to look realistic, and I want a male voice, and I want some powerful music because it's a convincing motivational idea I want to get across. And you hit a button, and you get all of your images, and you go through those. You say, that's exactly what I want it to look like, or this one doesn't look right. You're going to add a little prompt like, I want that to be a man or a woman, and it'll change that image. Now you're going to generate your video, download it, use it wherever you want.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Let me ask you a question, River. As somebody who's in business, as somebody who's forward thinking, who we've talked a couple of times, who moves very quickly, does a lot, has a lot of ideas. Where do you get stuck, and how do you get unstuck?
I get stuck because sometimes I will get wrapped around all the new AI stuff that's coming on. And for example, when Sora decided they were going to do videos, which is OpenAI, I came unglued, because they are the Goliath and I'm the David, and they're going to come and stomp on my head, and I'm going to be out of business tomorrow. And I let that bother me for a couple of days until I talked to my AI genius consultant, and he says, OpenAI is not your business. OpenAI, their target audience is developers. It's not who you have, which are educators and business people and entrepreneurs and creators. And the end content is to train and educate.
Yeah.
That's not their audience. And I'm just going, okay. And so I have to remember that I am a small fish in a big fish in a little pond. And I am in education and training. OpenAI is not in that. They don't care what you learn. They just care that you have a subscription and you created a video. They don't care at the end of the day that you actually learned something. I care about that.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of doing research on neurological things that affect learning, behavioral science, all the things that help people learn better. I'm actually doing research and making sure our videos incorporate those concepts, because at the end of the day, if you didn't learn something, you just have another video, and that's not the business I'm in. So I have to remember my space is here and I'm going to own it. Everything else is out here. Great, have fun with it. I don't care. I'm here. So that's where I get stuck. You have to remember who's your target audience and what are you trying to achieve.
Yeah. Amen. That's great. That's great. All right, let's do a quick speed round. I've asked you this before. You mentioned a couple of books today, but you got a lot of books behind you. What's another recent book that's had a big impact on you, River?
I'm so ready for you. All right. Creativity Inc. by Ed Catmull. I love this book. I read it. I listened to it twice. I underlined it. This guy is a genius for creating a culture that enhances creativity, places no blame when things go wrong. It's just, let's problem solve what went wrong. Let's keep going. He backs his employees 100%, and they know it. They're allowed to make mistakes and not get in trouble with it, because it's move fast and break things and let's learn and let's go forward. And I embraced everything that he talks about in that book, and it changed how I hired and how I conduct my meetings and work with my fellow employees.
Yeah, I love it. A best piece of wisdom you would give somebody who's afraid of AI?
Step in it lightly, put your big toe in.
Yeah.
I would start with something as easy as ChatGPT or Claude or some kind of writing tool. Don't forget that ChatGPT does great analysis. I'll go in there and do business analysis and what ifs, and you can, do financial what ifs and all kinds of things. Just play with it. You don't have to use it, but learn what it does. And then when you realize that it's saving you time and that it actually did a great job, then maybe you'll embrace it. But stick your big toe in. Do not stand on the edge of the pool and stare in it. At least put your big toe in.
Okay, good. I love it. Last question. Finish this sentence. How does somebody get a little bit more clarity, and how often should they be going back to get clarity on who their target audience is?
I think you should be revisiting that every time you think about doing any kind of marketing. So if you're doing that every week, you better be doing that every week.
Yeah.
And at the end of the month, when you look at your numbers and you look at your analytics, you revisit it then and you tweak as you go. Weekly, especially for a startup, weekly is better, because you're still trying to figure stuff out. And you're still trying to hone it in. Every week, I think about it every day, because I'm still in a very fast growth mode. And we're launching on July 23rd. I look at this every day, because every day counts and I need to be on the right path. So correct often.
Yeah. It's interesting. I feel the same way. I have my business coaching company, but I also have another company called Launch 3. And it's basically a coaching platform with 5-ish minute videos, right? There's like 150 life, business, career. Everything's very quick, and so you can implement things right away and save time and make money and da 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 da. But our audience, when we launched it versus our 2.0 version, we dug into the nuances, and we spent a lot of time over a lot of weeks listening to a lot of feedback, so we could get to our current client. And I think a lot of times people get frustrated and they're ready to just give up and maybe stop. But sometimes you're just a 1 or 2 degree shift away. You just got to kind of get there. So I just want to emphasize, be patient and take the time on a regular basis to do it, because otherwise you wake up and you're like, wait, what happened? And so if you can be there in real time or ahead of real time, it makes a world of difference. So thanks for that, River. River, I always enjoy talking with you. You're full of energy and great insights on everything. And AI is a topic that I think we will continue to talk about a lot as it shapes our lives and our businesses. I think community, I always like to extract at least one thing from each guest. I'm a business coach. I work with people who are successful and stuck and help them get unstuck. I love this show because I get to have guests that help people get unstuck. But one thing you talked about is automating to save time, to do leading activities, to have more time to set the vision, to have more time to reverse engineer and do what matters most. And that's really key. That is really key to make the space to do that. So River, tell everybody how to connect with you, learn more about you, and website, all that other great stuff.
Well, I think it'd be great if anyone is interested, and I hope everyone is, just because it's a hot topic and it's going to save you time and make better what you're already doing well. So I would go to Savantz, Savantz.ai. Check out the free trial, see how it all works, see how simple it is. And we'll be launching on July 23rd with a lot of our really stellar features. And this is for people who want to train and educate. And if that's your space and you have something you want people to learn, this is for you. So start there.
It's great. I love it. Think community, if River can help you, reach out to her. If I can help you with any of your coaching needs, you can reach out to me at johndwoskin.com. River, thanks. This was great. Always a pleasure. Stay on for just a minute and we'll catch up a little bit more. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, River.